On this episode of Ingrid's World, we're exploring the world of competitive sports and health communication. There are two things that fascinate me. So let's meet Bruce McBarnette, president of real estate investment firm Summit Connections, LLC, and former legal counsel to the United States Senate. He has won over 11 championships and 29 U.S. track and field masters national championships. Do you know he's even broken a record for his age group on several occasions, including 2 world records in 2014? And then you'll meet Philip Wilkerson III, who is a career coach at George Washington University. Philip is pursuing powerlifting and has just attended his first big meet with over 400 lifters. He will tell us what it was like to participate. And our last guest is Dr. Kreps, who is a distinguished professor and director of the Center for Health and Risk Communications at George Mason University. Dr. Kreps will share his knowledge of consumer-provided health communications as well as a campaign in e-health communications. I hope that you will find this show interesting and that I had the opportunity of putting it together. So you don't have to snap on your sneakers, but you do have to make a commitment to definitely have a mindset to really broaden your horizons. Now let's welcome to the show Bruce McBarnette. Bruce, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting me, Ingrid. It's always a pleasure being on your show. You do such a good job with these shows.
Well, you know, you're just becoming a regular.
Oh, okay.
So I'm telling you, and I love it. Mm-hmm. So let's first start with some of the questions I want. What places have you competed in the world?
Well, I've been fortunate enough to represent the United States in masters track and field in many countries around the world, almost every continent, with the exception of Antarctica and Arctica. I've represented the United States in the World Masters Track and Field Championships held in Brisbane, Australia. I've also been in Linz, Austria, also San Sebastian, Spain. Also, I've been in Sydney, Australia, Jyväskylä, Finland. I've competed in world championships. I've also been in Clermont-Ferrand in France, wonderful world championship to be in and eat wonderful French food. And also, I've had the opportunity to also be in world championships in Sydney, Australia. So these are some of the cities that I've had a chance to compete in. And I must say, Ingrid, it's wonderful to be able to be out there representing your country.
Oh, it has to be. So you said track and field. Well, the field of track and field is pretty broad. Tell us the events that you specialize in.
I specialize in the high jump and masters track and field. I also do the triple jump, the long jump, 100, the 60 meters, the 400 meters. But my big specialty is the high jump. And it's in the high jump that I have 11 world championships. I've broken numerous world records in the high jump. I've also won 29 USA national championships and have set many different USA national records in multiple age groups. Now, masters track and field is track and field for people over the age of 30. The way it works is that you compete within your age group.
Okay.
So people who are from 30 to 34 compete as one group, and then people who are 35 to 39 compete as another group, and people who are 40 to 44 compete in another group, and so on and so forth, all the way up to 100. There are actually people over 100 who compete in masters track and field championships. Yes. In fact, when I was in Budapest, Hungary, recently competing at the World Master Track and Field Championships. And while I was competing in the high jump, I was peeking over and looking at the triple jump, where there was a woman who was 98 years old setting records in the triple jump for her age group.
98?
98, that's right.
Oh my word.
So that was very impressive to me. To see athletes out there setting an amazing example for the rest of us and broadcasting through their physical fitness and their vigor the important message that no matter how old you are, it's never too late to do good things for your body. And that's one of the things that inspires me.
Exactly.
Is having a chance to be a role model to young people and old people alike.
Yes.
To show them that, yes, you can get out there, you can do something. You don't necessarily have to compete in masters track and field competitions. You don't necessarily have to compete at all. But doing something to stay in good shape and strengthen your cardiovascular system and improve your aerobic and anaerobic capabilities, and do things to strengthen your bones, your bone marrow, and all of the elements of your body, the hemoglobin in your blood to bring in better oxygen. All of these things can prolong your life. And as we know, people who have a regular exercise routine, on average, will live 10 years longer than those people who don't. So if for no other reason than that,
yes,
people should get out there and make the most of what they've been gifted to have, which is their bodies.
Wow, what an inspiration you are, because I'm listening to you, I'm like, okay, all right, so tomorrow, back to the gym. But you're right, you really are. Well, why did you, I had this question, and I wanted to ask you, how did you get started in track and field competition?
Well, I was at Princeton University, where I went to college, and I was playing on the football team, and I figured after my freshman year, after the freshman season, I figured, well, let me do something to stay in good shape for football. So I decided to go out for the track team. Also, we had an amazing coach on the track team, a man named Larry Ellis, who coached U.S. Olympic teams and was the president of USA Track and Field at one point.
Wow.
Probably the most distinguished person in track and field for his era.
Wow.
And in fact, he was also a friend of my father's. So there was a very good reason for me to go and try out for the track team. Well, I was the fastest guy on the football team, so I figured they could use me on the track team. And Coach Ellis said, well, we've got a lot of sprinters, but we don't have many people in the high jump. Why don't you try the high jump since you're tall? I said, well, sure, I'll try it. So I never high jumped before, but almost instantaneously I was doing well enough at it that I was the number 2 high jumper on the team.
Wow.
And then by the next year I was doing well on the varsity, competing in the Ivy League championships. And I just continued it from that point on.
Well, I just had to ask you that question because it's really inspiring. Bruce, I think what we'll have to do is just work it out that you have your own, time frame, because you really are just fascinating. You are a business owner. You have wonderful things that you do for the community, and a leader in track and field. And did I also mention actor? That's another thing to explore.
Yes, we can talk about that
We'll have to have you back
another show.
again.
But I must say it's always a pleasure to be here with you, and I'm glad that I can serve as a role model for your audience.
Yes.
I like to be able to show people that you can do good work in your profession, and at the same time do things to help your body and stay in shape and do interesting recreational things. And it's very helpful for me because I have a very high demanding type of profession. I run a real estate investment company, so I'm very busy with my investments. I'm also a realtor with Keller Williams, so I'm wearing many different hats, working with people in many different capacities. But it's great to be able to have something else that I do that on a more physical level.
Absolutely wonderful. And I hope the takeaway that everyone is that they're inspired by you, and you said, hey, I want to be that 98 woman who's out there competing. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having
You're
me
wonderful.
on the show.
Coming up next, we'll be talking to Philip Wilkerson III, who will be talking about powerlifting experience. And so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ingrid's World. I'm your host, Ingrid Paris Hicklin. I want you to welcome Philip Wilkerson III. Welcome, Philip.
Thank
so
you.
happy
Thank
to
you.
have you
Yeah, it's
here.
great. This is great.
I see you and
I know.
I'm like,
you see me like from a little kid and grow up now.
Like,
yeah.
Is this the same
Yeah.
6-year-old?
I know. It's like, wow. Yeah. I know it's kind of full circle here.
What a wonderful young man
Thank
you
you so
are.
much for having me on the show.
Well, the first thing I want to know, what motivated you to come and get involved in sports, and especially in competitive sports?
Okay, well, I grew up, playing soccer and playing football in high school and running track. And so I always liked, being a part of a team and doing some, active, and I was an active kid. And so right after I played college sports at Bowie State and transferred to JMU, I didn't really have an outlet anymore. So life caught up with me, and one day I just, I looked in the mirror and I wasn't satisfied, I wasn't healthy. And so I said I wanted to get back into something that I was used to doing, like something structured and organized. So I found CrossFit, and that was the way that I kind of got introduced to being in the competitive environment, competitive lifting again, stuff like that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So, and you started competing. That was like amazing to me. So first you started CrossFit. So what's that about? What's CrossFit?
Well, so CrossFit is constantly varied functional movements across different time domains at a high intensity. So what that means is that it's a little bit of everything: running, gymnastics, lifting, all thrown together, done at a very high intensity against a clock or doing against a time. So it's in a class environment. So I went to a CrossFit gym, and they have classes where they do these high intensity workouts.
Wow.
But you do it together against a clock, and it's pretty fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
It really does. So you did CrossFit. How did you get into powerlifting?
Well, so like I said, there's the different aspects of CrossFit that you can do. We do lifting to get stronger. We do gymnastics, do running, and I found the part that I liked the most, because I guess it's weird because I ran track, but I liked lifting the most. That was the thing that drew my attention. I liked hitting numbers. I like getting stronger. I like having. I thought for me, lifting, I had tangible goals that I wanted to hit with lifting. And so that one was the kind of the aspect within CrossFit that stuck with me, and that was something that I wanted to continue to do as a separate sport. So I love to still be involved in the CrossFit community. I love teaching it. I teach it to other people. I coach it.
Goodness.
My wife's involved with it. So it's like, I love that aspect, but for me personally, as an individual, I like going to powerlifting meets and lifting. And so I would say the main difference between CrossFit and powerlifting is really focused on strength.
Okay.
And it's not as much variety as a CrossFit competition, where they're running and doing pull-ups, they're walking on their hands, they're doing all kinds of crazy movements. Well, powerlifting is only 3 lifts. It's deadlift, bench press, and squat.
Wow.
So I felt like that was a way to kind of just simplify it for me and just focus and zero in on those things that I like to do. And that's how I guess I kind of separate myself personally for powerlifting as opposed to CrossFit.
So what was it like being at your first competition?
Well, so
a large one like that.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, that was my first large one was in this summer.
Yes.
It was called Raw Nationals. It's a national powerlifting meet. It's open to anyone, but you're going to be competing against the best in the United States. And so, I did a couple local meets. I did pretty well. I would, when I say local meets, here in Virginia, I did pretty well. And it was kind of like that big fish in a little pond kind of feeling.
Okay.
I was getting awards. I was, getting first place and second place in local events. But I went to nationals, and it was just like, you got a long way to go. Like, these are the best guys in the nation. And so I thought it was very humbling, to see that I can do pretty well in the Virginia area. But it was like, okay, I have goals and things I want to set and do. Maybe I'm not gonna, say I'm gonna win nationals or something crazy like that, but I want to definitely, put a dent or hang with those guys. And I think that gives me motivation and drive.
Wow.
But it was that first meet, it was crazy. I was seeing guys lift weights that I never thought people my size could do, because powerlifting is based on weights.
Oh, is it?
Like, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna be competing against a guy that's, 3 times bigger than me. I'm gonna be showing how strong I am at my size. So it was really crazy to see people at my size just doing ridiculous things. So I'm trying to be one of those guys that say, hey, that guy's not just strong, but strong for Virginia. He's pretty strong all over the country, stuff like that.
Wow. What inspires you? What keeps you going?
What keeps me going is, I like I saw the gentleman that said in this segment earlier that health for me, lifting, being strong, it's a lifetime pursuit. Like, I don't want to just say I'm lifting and getting strong for 5 years and just let it go. I want to be strong and healthy forever. And I kind of want to drop a little bomb, but my wife is pregnant. Yay! So I want to be a strong father. I want to be a strong person, right? And that's what gets me motivated, is being a strong person for the future. And also, I think what else gets me motivated is having a tangible goal. Like I saw the gentleman, he was breaking records and doing things like that. I like chasing something. I like saying, you know what, I want to deadlift 600 pounds. That's one of my goals right now.
Whoa.
I'm at 575 right now.
You're at 575 right now?
So I was like, for having a tangible goal, it keeps me motivated. It keeps me like, I'm not just doing it for nothing. I have something I want to reach. And I think it's kind of goes in line with the goal setting and what I kind of preach and talk about with career counseling and what I talk to the class is goal setting. I think setting those goals, like I hit this and I get that and get this, that's what keeps me motivated.
Oh my goodness, you're inspiring. Oh my goodness.
No, I guess not really. So,
I can just see the little baby
I'm trying to. I told you it's a family affair. I'm trying to get my dad into it. Not powerlifting, but he comes to the gym a couple times. My mom, she's getting into fitness. She does Zumba, so it's just good.
She sent me a video. You're inspiring her.
So she loves, and it's staying active. And I use CrossFit. I use powerlifting. It's not the only way. We saw the gentleman does track and field. Everyone has a way to do their own fitness and do it for themselves. But I don't know. It's just fun. I think, and that's also fun. Like it's a positive outlet, And I think I kind of lost that when I didn't have that in college.
Wow.
But now that I'm an adult, it's like this is the way I can have fun and still feel young and do things and test myself.
Well, I'm hoping that our viewers out there will see Philip Wilkerson the third, powerlifting from CrossFit
and shouts out.
Shouts out to them. And I'm just telling you, you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Thanks. Coming up next, we'll be talking to Dr. Kreps, Director of the Center for Health Risk Communication at George Mason University. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Ingrid's World. I'm your host, Ingrid Paris-Hicklin. I want you to meet Dr. Kreps, Director of Center for Health and Risk Communication at George Mason University. Welcome to the show, Dr. Kreps. It's great to have you.
I'm very glad to be here.
Well, first of all, you've been at George Mason University for 10 years. You're a distinguished professor. You've done a lot of amazing things at the university. Let's start with, what is health communications? What's that about?
Yeah, health communication is an area that I've been working in for almost 30 years now. I actually was one of the first people to start working in this area. It's an area that examines the way communication enables people to get information for making good health decisions, a way that experts can help to influence health behaviors, ways that we can manage the information needs of large healthcare systems, ways that we can provide technology that will provide people with information and support. It's a very broad area. It covers a lot of different things.
And you do a lot of amazing things throughout, our country, but also overseas too. Tell us about some of the things that you're doing.
Yes, it's very interesting. I began doing most of my work on a local level, then I became national in terms of the work I did working with the NIH and the National Cancer Institute. And then about 10 or 15 years ago, I started getting contacted by other countries around the world. I do a lot of work in Europe and Asia, particularly in China and in Japan and Korea and Singapore. I was just in Singapore about 2 weeks ago. So it's very interesting because the same communication and information issues that are very difficult for consumers in the U.S. Also plague people from other parts of the world. And health issues don't really know any boundary. They, as we know with the new Ebola crisis,
Yes.
that infections can move around, and what happens in one country is of great relevance to people in bordering countries. And even right now in the U.S., we had our first instance of Ebola here in the U.S. And so we need to really focus on those issues. So I deal with a lot of those infectious disease issues, flu, influenza, HIV. I am trying to help people come up with strategies to make solutions that cross boundaries.
I remember you was attending a meeting that you were chairing, and you were talking about developing an app, as you were working with, what was that about?
And I'm really excited about new information technology as a way to supplement the regular face-to-face communication that we engage in healthcare. While face-to-face communication is very exciting, it also often will break down in terms of remembering and getting the information, and we often need to review over time.
Yes,
and we also need
health.
information at the point when we actually have health problems 24/7 wherever you are. And so if we have applications that people can access on their smartphones, on their laptops, with their telephones in a variety of different ways, it makes it much easier for them to get the information and support they need. So I've been developing a range of different technologies. I wear my monitor. This is what
Wow.
tells me how many steps I'm taking, and it reminds me and encourages me. But nowadays the technology is getting very sophisticated. And one of the things I've been trying to do is develop more human, interactive, emotionally sensitive, relationally competent technologies where you can actually talk to the technology, and it can tell you what you need to do and answer questions for you and provide you with the support you need whenever you need it.
Oh my goodness, and that's what's important. Now you have a conference that's going to be held pretty soon. Tell us a little bit about this conference.
Yes, we started
up.
doing about 5 years ago the DC Health Communication Conference, Washington, D.C. We held it at George Mason University, and we're going to be holding this one again in Fairfax at the Fair Lakes Hyatt. It's going to be held on April 16th to the 18th, and the focus of the conference is communication competence and health promotion. How do we help people develop the communication competencies they need, both healthcare providers and consumers, to get the most out of the healthcare system, to navigate the bureaucracy of the system, to make informed healthcare decisions, to provide support whenever needed, anywhere across the trajectory of healthcare issues.
Wow. Yeah, that's what it's all about, is to getting that out. So, who is going to be presenting at a conference
So
like
what we
that?
do is we try to encourage people who are doing cutting-edge research in health communication at universities around the world, and also in federal government and research centers, to come and share their work. And we're particularly interested in translational research, research that can be translated into practice, particularly if it can guide public health practice. And I've already been talking to people in different parts of the world and writing letters of invitation so they can get visas to come join us from China and Japan and other parts of the world. And so we're going to have a very interesting group of folks talking to us about the latest research and the latest applications to improve health.
So when you started at George Mason 10 years ago, and now here it is, 14, 15, how much has changed in this field that you're in?
It's changed quite dramatically. It's become, every year it gets more and more active, more and more well-known, more people doing work in this area. It's now probably one of the largest areas of inquiry within the communication discipline.
Oh my goodness.
It's also a very interdisciplinary field of study that connects with medicine, with public health, with epidemiology, with health education, with psychology, with a whole range of different areas. Lately I've been doing a lot of work with computer scientists on developing new applications. So it's an exciting area. I think it has a tremendous trajectory. And as long as we have health issues and we have difficulty getting access to the information and support we need, I think there'll be a great demand for doing work in this area.
Well, I have to commend you on the work that you're doing there, not only for George Mason University and our community here, but worldwide. You have a global influence, and that's what's pretty exciting
Well,
about
thank you.
it.
I also really appreciate having a local influence, and one of the ways that we know each other is that we're both active with the Fairfax County Health Literacy Initiative, which is a collaborative of local organizations that are banding together to address the health information needs of vulnerable populations. How do poor people, people who are immigrants, people who have disabilities, how do we get them the information and support they need? And how do we train healthcare providers and help administrators to provide services to elderly, to indigent, to people who have low levels of literacy?
That's right.
So I really appreciate your help in working on that.
Oh, it's a joy. It's a joy, especially because I get a chance to work with you. Well, thank you for being on Ingrid's World. You're
My
amazing.
pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, look forward to our next meeting. I'd like to thank our guests for a great show. The final thought I would like to leave you with is from Helen Keller. Optimism is the faith that leads us to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. Thank you for watching Ingrid's World, and don't forget, find us on Facebook for instant Ingrid World news or see ingridsworld.org. Thanks for watching.